At just 12 years old, Ethan stood silently before his father's grave, a single red rose clutched tightly in his hand. Today marked the first visit since his heartbreaking loss, a day filled with both sorrow and a glimmer of hope. The gravestone, etched with memories of a loving father, spoke of a man who had once been Ethan's guide, teacher, and hero. As he carefully placed the rose on the cold stone, a gentle breeze stirred around him, carrying whispers of comfort that seemed to echo his father's loving words. In that quiet moment, amidst the rustling leaves and fading daylight, Ethan felt a reassuring presence that promised he would never truly be alone. Welcome to Acts of Kindness Stories, a channel where we explore moments of loss, courage, and the enduring power of love, inspiring each of us to keep moving forward with strength and compassion. Ethan lingered at the edge of the cemetery, his heart a tumult of grief and tentative hope. The memory of his father, his mentor, his friend, his unwavering guide, was as vivid as the soft rustling of leaves around him. Clutching a single red rose as if it were the last vestige of a love that transcended loss, he stepped closer to the weathered gravestone. Every chiseled word recalled moments of laughter, lessons learned on sunlit afternoons, and the gentle reassurance of a voice that once filled his world with warmth. Standing before the gravestone, Ethan recalled how his father had taught him to ride a bike along winding neighborhood streets, his laughter echoing with every successful glide on pavement. He remembered the patient way his father had shown him to cast a fishing line into a sparkling lake, the thrill of anticipation mingling with calm instruction. But it was not just the physical memories that stirred his soul. It was the wisdom, the compassion, and the quiet strength that his father embodied. Now, with the scent of fresh roses mingling with the damp earth, Ethan felt the weight of those memories and the fragile hope that somehow his father's spirit still lingered near. As Ethan gently laid the rose against the cold stone, an almost imperceptible warmth swept over him, a warmth that felt like a reassuring touch on his shoulder. He paused, eyes straining against the quiet of the cemetery, and then in the silence, he heard it. A voice, soft yet unmistakably familiar, called his name. Ethan. The sound was both a whisper and a promise, a voice that once brought comfort on stormy nights and now echoed in the solitude of loss. "Dad," he managed, his voice trembling as he searched the empty space for the source. For a brief moment, the cemetery seemed to transform. Shadows softened, and the chill of the early evening was replaced by a gentle, almost surreal calm. The voice came again, warmer this time. "I'm here, son." It was a voice laden with affection and understanding, like a tender reminder that love is never truly lost. A mix of emotions surged through Ethan, a rush of sorrow intermingled with relief, and a newfound determination to honor the memory of his father. The ethereal encounter was not accompanied by a physical presence. No figure emerged from the mist. Yet, the sound of his father's voice, as clear as if he stood beside him, filled the void of loss with a sense of enduring connection. With tears welling up in his eyes, Ethan whispered his thanks to the unseen guardian, his voice shaky yet filled with a promise to be brave, just as his father had always urged him. Leaving the cemetery with a heart both heavy and hopeful, Ethan returned home to find solace and support in the familiar embrace of his mother. In the quiet of their modest home, she was in the kitchen preparing dinner, a daily ritual now tinged with memories of shared meals and heartfelt conversations. When she noticed the traces of grief in his eyes, her own heart ached in silent understanding. "I visited Dad's grave today," Ethan confessed, his voice low, each word weighed down by the significance of the moment. His mother's hands stilled, and the gentle clatter of the kitchen paused as she turned to face him. In her eyes, he saw a reflection of his own pain, a deep sorrow mingled with hope. "Did you hear him, Ethan?" she asked softly, searching his gaze for answers. "I did," he replied, the memory of that comforting voice resonating inside him. "He told me I'm braver than I think, that he's always watching over us." The words, simple yet profound, bridged the distance between memory and the present, weaving a connection that felt both miraculous and deeply reassuring. In the days that followed, the encounter began to reshape Ethan's inner world. At school, his quiet demeanor, long overshadowed by grief, began to soften. One ordinary morning, as he sat in a classroom filled with murmurs and the rustle of papers, he noticed a new student seated at the back. The boy's eyes darted nervously, his hands fidgeting with a pencil as if seeking a lifeline in a sea of unfamiliar faces. Something stirred in Ethan, a recollection of his father's wisdom, a lesson about the courage found in extending a hand to someone in need. Rising from his seat with newfound resolve, Ethan approached the boy. "Hi, I'm Ethan," he said, his voice steady despite the lingering echoes of loss. "Would you like to sit with me?" The simple offer was not just an invitation to share a table, but an outstretched hand in friendship, a gesture that bridged loneliness with understanding. The boy, whose hesitant smile soon gave way to gratitude, introduced himself as Oliver. From that day, a quiet camaraderie blossomed between them. They partnered on school projects, exchanged stories during lunch, and even discovered a shared love for soccer on the field after school. In this connection, Ethan recognized a powerful truth. Sometimes, bravery means opening your heart to others, even when you're still healing yourself. At home, too, the changes were palpable. Ethan began to notice the subtle weariness etched on his mother's face after long days at work. Determined to lighten her burden, he took small yet meaningful steps. He set the table for dinner without prompting, helped with the dishes, and made sure to share moments of kindness and laughter, even on days when the sadness seemed too deep to lift. These simple acts of service became a way for him to channel the lessons his father had once imparted, that love endures in the smallest gestures and that courage often lies in the quiet routines of everyday life. In the silent hours of the night, when the house was cloaked in darkness and the soft hum of the night lulled the world to sleep, Ethan would lie awake, his mind adrift in memories. Sometimes, the ache of loss would resurface with a clarity that cut through the dim light of his room. In those moments, he would close his eyes and listen, not just for the silence, but for the familiar warmth of his father's voice. "I'm here, Ethan. I'm always here," it would whisper, weaving reassurance into the fabric of his dreams. These nocturnal recollections, though tinged with sorrow, gradually became the foundation of a new strength. They reminded him that even in the deepest darkness, love could light the way. One bright Saturday morning, feeling an inner pull he couldn't ignore, Ethan asked his mother if they could visit a place his father had loved dearly, a serene lake on the outskirts of town, where the water shimmered under the open sky and the wooden dock stood as a silent witness to countless memories. With a shared glance that spoke of mutual loss and quiet hope, they packed a modest picnic and set off on a journey that felt both nostalgic and healing. Arriving at the lake, Ethan was struck by the tranquility that enveloped the scene. The gentle lapping of water against the dock, the chorus of birdsong, and the soft murmur of the wind in the trees all combined to create an atmosphere of peaceful remembrance. His mother, standing beside him, recalled in a tender voice, "Your dad loved this place. He always said it was where he felt most at ease." As they settled on the weathered dock, Ethan's mind wandered back to afternoons spent learning the art of stone skipping. He reached into his pocket and retrieved a small, smooth stone, one he had found along the way. Holding it tightly, he remembered the careful balance his father had taught him, the precise angle, and the delicate flick of the wrist that sent the stone dancing across the water's surface. With a determined breath, Ethan positioned himself at the edge of the dock. His mother watched quietly, her eyes filled with both sorrow and admiration as he let the stone fly. It skipped once, twice, 3 times, each graceful touch on the water a tribute to lessons learned and memories cherished. In that fleeting moment, the echoes of his father's guidance resonated in every ripple, each skip a reaffirmation of the enduring bond between them. A subtle smile played upon his lips, a rare glimpse of joy amid the pain. This quiet victory at the lake sparked something within Ethan, a desire to not only honor his father's memory but to extend the healing he had found to others who shared similar burdens. The idea took root one evening as he sat at the kitchen table, notebooks and thoughts spread out before him. The memory of his father's voice, imbued with unwavering encouragement, urged him to transform his personal journey of grief into something that could uplift others. What if we could help other kids who have experienced loss? He mused quietly. What if there were a place where we could all share our stories and support each other? With the gentle backing of his mother, who saw in her son the spark of compassion and resilience, Ethan began to take small steps toward making this vision a reality. He reached out to the school counselor, sharing his own experiences and the profound impact that those quiet moments of connection had had on him. Together, they devised a plan to establish a support group, a safe space where children grappling with loss could gather, speak openly, and find solace in the understanding of peers who truly comprehended the depths of their sorrow. The first meeting took place in the hushed calm of the school library after hours. Nervously, Ethan stood before a small circle of children, each one marked by their own silent struggles. His voice, though quavering at first, soon grew steadier as he began to speak. "Hi, I'm Ethan," he began, his eyes meeting those of his attentive listeners. "I lost my dad a while back, and I know how hard it can be. I've felt lost and scared, but I've also learned that sharing our stories can help us find a way through the darkness." One by one, the children began to share their own tales of loss. A parent, a grandparent, a sibling, and in each shared story, Ethan recognized the universal language of grief and healing. The space that had once been filled with silence was now alive with whispers of hope and mutual support. In the weeks that followed, the support group became a cornerstone of healing for many of the children. They gathered regularly, exchanging not only their stories but also small acts of kindness. A handwritten note, a shared memory, a simple smile that said, "I understand." Ethan found that in reaching out, he was not only helping others but also piecing together the fragments of his own shattered heart. With every meeting, every shared tear and laugh, the pain of his loss softened, transforming into a tender reminder of a love that continued to guide him. At school, the friendship with Oliver deepened as they navigated the corridors of adolescence together. Their bond was built on small daily acts of kindness, a supportive nod during a challenging class, a shared joke during recess, and quiet moments of understanding when words fell short. For Ethan, these interactions were more than just friendly exchanges. They were living lessons in resilience, echoing the wisdom of his father. It became clear that true bravery was not measured by grand gestures, but by the ability to extend compassion even when one's own heart was still mending. Throughout these experiences, Ethan carried his father's legacy not as a burden, but as a luminous guide. Whether it was during a quiet moment of reflection at home, the comforting murmur of his father's remembered voice in the still of the night, or the heartfelt gratitude exchanged with a friend in the school hallway, the lessons of courage, kindness, and unwavering love resonated in every facet of his life. Each step, each act of bravery, reinforced the idea that the bonds of love are indestructible, transcending the boundaries of time and space. In these unfolding chapters of his life, Ethan's journey of healing was marked by both personal triumphs and the shared strength of a community coming together to support one another. The memory of his father was interwoven with every act of kindness, every moment of courage, and every heartfelt conversation that illuminated the path forward. And in this intricate tapestry of grief transformed into hope, Ethan discovered that while the pain of loss might never fully disappear, it could be reshaped into a beacon of strength. A reminder that even in the absence of a guiding hand, the love once given continues to light the way. All the while, the gentle echo of his father's voice, "I'm here, Ethan," remained a constant presence. It was a reassurance that every act of kindness, every moment of bravery, was a testament to a bond that death could never sever. And through the support group, through new friendships forged in the crucible of shared sorrow, and through the small, everyday acts of love at home, Ethan began to see that his father's legacy was alive in every heart he touched. This unfolding journey, filled with quiet determination and heartfelt connection, served as a living lesson in the enduring power of love. It was a narrative of healing that proved even the deepest wounds could transform into sources of strength, reminding everyone that, no matter how overwhelming the darkness, the light of compassion and kindness would always guide the way. Welcome again to Acts of Kindness Stories, where each story we share is a tribute to the resilience of the human spirit and a reminder that every act of kindness creates ripples of hope in a world that so deeply needs it. In that quiet, reflective moment, Ethan stood once more at his father's grave, a place that had witnessed his sorrow, his healing, and his growing strength. The gentle whisper of his father's voice still lingered in the air, a soft reminder that love endures beyond loss. Surrounded by the heartfelt smiles of his mother and the supportive faces of his newfound friends from the support group, Ethan realized that every shared tear and every act of kindness was a testament to the enduring power of compassion. His journey was not just about overcoming grief. It was about transforming it into a force that inspired others to find hope in their own struggles. Each memory, every lesson learned, had woven itself into the fabric of his daily life, turning his pain into a bridge that connected him with those who needed comfort and guidance. As Ethan took his final look at the gravestone, he carried with him not just the sorrow of loss, but also the warmth of his father's everlasting presence, a warmth that now fueled his determination to make a difference in the lives of others. His story had become a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in our darkest moments, the love we carry inside can light our way forward. If Ethan's journey has touched your heart and inspired you to seek strength in love and kindness, please consider liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and leaving a comment below about your own experiences of finding hope in difficult times. And don't forget to subscribe to Acts of Kindness Stories New. We're on a mission to reach 10,000 subscribers so we can continue sharing stories that celebrate the resilience of the human spirit and spread the light of compassion throughout our community.